All right. My future self, made millionaires, pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, and let's get brutally honest for a minute. A lot of you hit me up sliding into my DMs, asking for the secret sauce, the magic pill, the one trick to making big money. And I tell you the truth, I spill the beans, but then nobody believes me. It is wild, right? Everyone wants the shortcut, the easy button. But the real path, the one that actually works, is usually the one that sounds too simple, too boring, too hard, or just plain counterintuitive. Today, we're talking about how to absolutely lock in during your 20s. So you can, if you want, choose to retire by 30 and before anyone starts picturing me in a Hawaiian chic. RT sipping a paifaya colada on some exotic beach. Let's clarify something crucial: retirement. In my book, in this context, it is not about never working again. It is not about being a full-time beach bum, unless that is genuinely your passion. No, my friends. It is simply about financial independence. It is about having enough passive income, enough cash flow from your smart investments, enough dividends hitting your account, that you get to choose exactly how you spend every single minute of your precious life. You can still work. I still work. But when you hit this level, you are only working on projects that truly ignite your soul, that you are genuinely passionate about. That is the definition for me, and I needed to get that straight right out of the gate, because this decade, this golden window from 20 to 30, dude, it is not just affecting your 30s. It is not just a warm-up act for the main event. These next 10 years, they affect everything: your entire life trajectory, your legacy, your future happiness, your ability to help your family, everything. And if you don't take it seriously, if you coast, if you play small, you are 100,000% going to pay the price later in life. I've seen it countless times with people in their 40s, their 50s, even later. They just didn't do anything, right? In their prime, they didn't make the sacrifices when it mattered most. So now, they're sacrificing for their entire life, trapped in jobs they hate, constantly stressed about money, always wishing for someday. And the way I see it, the brutal truth is this: if you sacrifice for just the first 5 to 10 years of your 20s, just that concentrated period of intense focus, you can literally live the rest of your life doing whatever the hell you want. Think about that for a second. 5 to 10 years of grind for 50, 60, 70 years of absolute freedom. That, my friends, is a trade-off I'll take any day, every day. So, let's dive into the 5+1 bonus principles that will get you there. Point number 1. And this one's going to sting for some of you social butterflies. Say no to everything. And I know, this probably sounds completely backwards from all the self-help gurus telling you to say yes to every opportunity, to embrace new experiences in your 20s. They say you should just say yes to everything, network with everyone, learn all the things. I don't think so. I think your 20s are about subtraction, not addition. It is about ruthlessly eliminating anything that doesn't serve your mission, anything that doesn't push you forward, anything that isn't a direct investment in your future self. Say no to parties that don't serve you, the ones that are just time, sucks, draining your energy and filling your head with meaningless chatter. Say no to relationships that drain you, the ones that are constantly taking, never giving, leaving you feeling exhausted and uninspired. Good people, good women, good men, they are absolutely out there. I am not saying become a hermit, but a lot of relationships can also be massive distractions, or frankly, just a colossal waste of your precious time and emotional energy. That is a whole other video, trust me. Say no to jobs that don't teach you anything new, the ones that are just comfortable, repetitive, and offer zero upward mobility or skill acquisition, everything that isn't a direct parlay to that next level. You have to say no to it, dude. Every yes, in my opinion, to something is a no to something else. You have to understand that fundamental truth, and anything that isn't directly contributing towards your mission, towards building the life you want, towards becoming the person you need to be, is, in my opinion, a complete waste of time. It sounds a bit messed up, a bit extreme, and yeah, I took this a bit too literal in my own journey. Between 20 and 23, there were periods where I barely talked to my parents. I didn't have many relationships. I was deep in the trenches, but especially, and I've talked about this before, the year of 2022, when I built my business, dude, it set me up. Maybe not for my entire life, but it absolutely set me up for the next couple of decades. I have enough money now to more or less not work for the next 12 to 15 years if I really didn't want to. That is the kind of freedom I am talking about. That is what you need to be aiming for. You get the point. I don't want to beat that dead horse too much, but seriously, embrace subtraction. Point number 2. Be constantly evolving. You should actually be hearing from people. Man, you changed. You switched up. You are different now. You want to hear that. And you should be hoping for those outcomes every 6 to 12 months. You should almost be learning to morph into a new person, to shed your old skin, and in a way completely change your entire identity, your twins. Twenties are your most formative years. The years where you are truly shaping who you will become. But we're almost taught from a young age to stay in this little bubble, to stay comfortable, to go work the stable job. Don't take the risk with entrepreneurship. Don't do X, Y, and Z. Don't start that YouTube channel. That is silly. We're conditioned to have this weird routine from day one to fit into a mold, which, again, I completely went against the grain. I didn't do that, and it served me extremely well. Now, some people, it works for them. Okay, I get it. I have friends that are very analytical, friends that want to stay in traditional careers, and they live a very happy life, and that is awesome. All the power to you, genuinely. But if you are watching this video, that is most likely not you. It could be you, but I just think, really ask yourself, is that something you truly, truly want, or are you just going with the flow? Accepting the path of least resistance, so you should always be evolving. You should always be wanting new experiences, new knowledge, new skills, new perspectives. Never settle for who you are right now, because who you are right now is just a stepping stone to the next better version of you. Anyway, point number 3. Aim to learn one new high-ticket skill every single year. One new skill per year, minimum. If you want my example, I started with appointment setting in 2017, then the next year. It was closing, 2018, 2019. It was leadership. I was leading a team of anywhere from 12 to 15 appointment setters at any given time in my early 20s. And then eventually, once I started my own business, I learned how to copyright. I learned how to negotiate. I learned ads. This, like so many skills. They just stacked and stacked and stacked on top of each other to where I became a machine. Dude, a literal building, problem-solving machine. And this is why, for most people, I can't stand skills that you are not actually putting action towards. You are reading from outdated content. You are getting a degree in school that is just, not really teaching you much of practical value. You are just learning from 10, 20-year-old content. You are just internalizing everything. You are taking these tests, but you are not actually putting anything into action. You are not actually pulling the trigger on any of these things, or putting in the motion, or getting the reps in. Like I am always about, especially in sales. Practicing, failing, learning, adapting. You don't do that in school, dude. That is not what you are taught to do. You are taught to, listen and be a good employee and be a good test taker. You are not actually taught to really have practical, real-world skills that make you valuable. And that is why I think this job market is so messed up, because people think that just because they have this education, they're entitled to something. But I actually look for what is at the bottom of a resume. What have you done that is different? Have you run a marathon? Have you tried starting businesses? Are you working on any side projects? That, to me, is interesting. That is what shows me you are a doer, a hustler, a problem solver, seeing your diploma, when thousands of other candidates have the exact same piece of paper that you do. It is like, dude, no offense, but why should I choose you, right? So just think about that. That is why I am a huge fan of high-ticket skills, the ones that directly translate into income, into value, into market demand. And let's not even talk about the freelance opportunities with that. That is for another time. But just know, they're massive. Point number 4, you need to hang around the right people. Okay. And dude, listen, constantly audit your environment. Once every 30 days, once a month, religiously, please understand that even though it is cheesy, even though it has been said a million times, the quote of, you are the sum of the 5 closest people in your circle. Whatever it is, that is one of the realest things I've ever heard in my entire life. I cannot tell you how important it is to be in the right energetic space. I've been in environments. I've been at parties. I've been at family gatherings where you just feel the energy. You feel the downness, whether it is some drama that is happening, or just general toxicity, or just like, these people are talking negative about money, they're complaining about everything. You almost even I still struggle with this sometimes, where it is like, are you sure you are working on the right thing? Like 4 or 5 people will be obviously, against you, and against you starting that business, against you pursuing that crazy idea, and it is, like, you almost psych yourself out. You start thinking, shit, maybe they're right. Maybe I am crazy. Versus if you are around 5 entrepreneurs, dude, do you think you'd be having those doubts? Absolutely not. They'd be high-fiving you, pushing you, telling you to go harder. That is why I forced myself into groups. I forced myself in front of mentors that were like, dude, I know these guys are well ahead of me. They're going to tell me and laugh at my face and say, dude, you need to start this business as soon as possible. Why haven't you started it sooner? Versus family members who, basically dump all over that idea, who crush your dream. With their limiting beliefs. You have to work against that. And your environment is a real thing, a powerful, inescapable force. I don't care what anyone says. I am all for locking yourself in a black hole and being able to be alone for a while, to focus, to build. But at a certain point, you got to come up for air. You got to talk to people. You don't want to be a loser. You don't want to be a recluse forever. And this is just a good way to do so. It is more of a reminder, if anything, a constant check on your surroundings. The final point. And this one's a bit harsh, a bit brutal. But it is the truth. The quicker you realize that nobody cares about you, the better your life becomes. I know this is kind of more like steps on how to lock in, but this is just a high-level point that I want to talk about because it is so freeing. Everyone, especially dude from like 19 to 28, 29, is so focused on themselves. They barely have enough time for their own life, their own problems, their own insecurities. So if you think they're thinking about you because of a couple social media posts, or because you wore a weird outfit, or because you tried something new and failed, I promise you, even if they do for the first 30 seconds, they're not really thinking about it tonight. By the time they're sleeping on it, they're not remembering that. They're dreaming about their own stuff. So this point helped me focus so much more versus constantly caring about what others would think when I tried starting a business or posting content or any of that kind of stuff. It is just a small mental shift, but I cannot begin to tell you how much of an impact it made on me in my life by just reminding myself that everyone laughs until it works. Everyone will talk trash. Everyone will criticize until they start seeing you make money, until they start seeing you succeed. And even then, they don't truly care. Not in the way you think. They're still just focused on themselves, right? So just remind yourself on that. It is incredibly liberating. And now, for a bonus one, a kind of point number 6, if you will, but a crucial one, build your personal brand. If you are watching this, you probably have a phone, you probably have a laptop, which means you have a camera. Start documenting your journey. I don't need you to make freaking tutorials. I don't need you to have a crazy skill set. I don't need you to be a pro editor. None of the YouTubers, maybe not none, but a good chunk of YouTubers that I watched, they didn't have a crazy skill set when they started YouTube. Dude, they just started documenting what they were already interested in, what they were already doing, whether it was skills, interests, passions, hobbies, whatever. Create content around that. Your personal brand in your 20s becomes your real lie. Fee lottery ticket, even by age 25, even if you start in your late 20s. If you start it sooner than later, you are setting yourself up for incredible opportunities. If you followed me for a while, you know, this is my biggest regret, since doing YouTube has in a way kind of changed my life, like it has given me the dopamine hit of knowing I am on the right path. But it has also made me think, dude, why didn't I do this years ago? Like, what the hell was I thinking? You don't need crazy content. You don't need crazy editing. Start with documenting what you are already doing. Just flick on the camera for the cold calls that you are making. Flick on the camera for the car content that you are making. It doesn't matter. Just do something. Start.